Greetings, young ones or old ones. There is no age limit to the world of podcasting. Welcome to chapter 115 of Anecdotes of a Caucasian Gent. I hope you're well. I hope you enjoy your stay. If you're new, great to have you here. Leave a 5-star review on iTunes. It's just like a hotel. You know, you check in once in a while. You know, like there is no complimentary chocolates on your bed, but I hope you have a nice visit. You know what I mean? Yes, we're only manned for 1 hour. Okay, it's not really like a hotel. I'm trying to stretch out this analogy or this metaphor. It's not working. Podcasts are nothing like hotels. The only thing they have in common is you can rate them, and that's it. I actually stayed in a 5-star hotel in Sydney. I don't know why. Like, my tour manager was like, yeah, this is all I could find. I was like, really? In the whole of Sydney, all you could find was a 5-star hotel. And by the way, that's not a flex. I'm not doing well. We can't afford that. I don't think it was even that expensive. I think we somehow got a sweet deal for some reason, and it was just like the cost of a regular hotel, or maybe we got upgraded rooms. I don't really get it. Or maybe we got the cheapest room at a 5-star hotel. I'm not really sure how it works, but man, it was nice. There was 2 bathrooms. I've never had that in a hotel room, because I don't know, people might be rich who listen to this, you know, but I've never stayed in a hotel with 2 bathrooms. To me, that's a house. If you have 2 bathrooms, it's like, ooh, nice house. Some apartments don't even have 2 bathrooms, right? So I was like, in this hotel room, there was 2 bathrooms. Zach and I had a bathroom each. We were both had like a queen bed each. They left complimentary. Oh yeah, what was it? Complimentary. I'm trying to. There was a bunch of stuff. There was complimentary chocolates. I just don't want to get it wrong. There was chocolates, mousse, complimentary mousse. That's insane. There was complimentary apples, milk, complimentary. There was another weird thing. Oh yeah, cheese and crackers. We got there and they were like, oh, would you like your welcome pack? It's complimentary. And we were like, okay. And they brought up cheese and crackers with like this vanilla mousse and chocolate mousse. And I was like, I don't even really like cheese, dude. Like, not on a cracker. I'm so white that I'll just have a cracker by myself. Like, I don't even need dip. I'll eat raw dog and Savoys. I don't care. People used to judge me back in the day when we were doing the Savoy thing on the radio, and I always filmed myself eating Savoys. And people used to be like, I can't believe you're just throwing them down raw with no dip or anything. And I was like, man, sue me. I don't care. It's how I like. Why do people care how other people eat? Leave me alone and let me raw dog my bickies by myself. Thank you. God, who's using protection when it comes to savoury bickies? You know, dips are the condoms of the savoury world. If you're putting a French onion, it's like, yeah, you know, your stomach probably won't get pregnant, but you're not getting that raw dog experience. You're not getting that veiny bicky down your gob. Oh, it's so stupid. Look at me. I started the podcast by trying to compare podcasts to hotels, and then 2 minutes later, I'm comparing eating bickies without dip to fucking without a condom. Oh man, do you ever just like laugh at shit for no reason? I did this Instagram story like during the week, and oh, it was so funny. I just couldn't stop laughing. I do that all the time. I just get the giggles, and I don't even know what I'm laughing at. Like, I saw a bunny, right? This is the funniest shit I've ever seen. I was like in my court, right, and I just parked my car. I was about to go to my house, and there was this like bunny rabbit, because obviously I live in the city, right, in Diamond City, and there's always heaps of rabbits and wildlife that you see in the city. And there was a bunny rabbit just on this rock, and it was looking at me, and then it just went, like, I swear it went, even though rabbits don't really make sounds, I swear I heard a rabbit go, It wasn't like a, I'm not going to exaggerate because it wasn't crazy. It was just a rabbit, and I swear it went, again, every time I think about this, I can't stop laughing because that's the funniest shit. Like, I spend all year writing stand-up, writing jokes in videos. I spend a lot of my life trying to produce humorous content. But there's nothing funnier to me than a rabbit just on a rock going, So, right, there's this rabbit on a rock, and it's sitting there, it looks at me, and it goes, and then it just jumps off the rock, and then, like, runs into another rock. Like, there's an opposing rock at the other side of the driveway. It's looking, right, and it's running, and then she goes, boom, hits the other rock, and then goes, again, and then runs away. Funniest shit I've ever seen. A rabbit going, jumping off a rock, and then running straight into another rock. That's comedy. You know, say what you want about, you know, Seth Rogen films and stuff. I think there's a lot of great comedy content out there in the world, but, you know, I would give that rabbit 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is a good narrative from start to finish. That's a good comedy narrative. There was twists and turns. I went, and then I was like, oh, what's going to happen next? Jumped off the rock. I was like, no way, I've never seen a rabbit jump off a rock before, right? I was like, it was a high rock as well. So I was like, is this a suicidal rabbit? I didn't know rabbits could take that fall. They're kind of like cats. They can just fall off everything and just, like, it was probably when I say rock, it was like a boulder. You know, I would say maybe almost a meter off the ground, the top of the boulder. It was on like a landscaping ledge of a driveway as well. So it had another, you know, kind of extra 30 centimeters to it. The rabbit jumped off. It didn't look like it was affected by the drop of the rock at all. I wish, man, I'd have to bend my legs if I jumped off that. It was something that might even affect me, you know, but yet this rabbit was just, as soon as it left it for like a split second, because I was already laughing at the rabbit going, and then I thought, oh no, maybe that was a cry for help, and now I'm just watching a rabbit trying to end it all off this like high ledge, and for about a second I went, oh no, I could have talked the rabbit down from the ledge, but instead I was laughing at it going, and yeah, imagine if that was just like, you know, in Rabbit he was just like doing a Ned Kelly, and maybe means such is life or something like that, and he was just, you know, who knows what's ever going on about in a rabbit's head, but it's hard to tell. But, you know, it made me rethink if I should just start laughing hysterically at rabbits if they make funny noises, you know. But then it hit the ground and it was okay, and I was like, oh, I you know, did a massive sigh of relief, and then the rabbit started running at full pace at the rock and I was like, oh, it is a suicidal rabbit. This rabbit did, maybe it was a cry for help. And then the rabbit just like head bumped itself into the other rock, and it was so flustered because it was kind of dark. But I thought rabbits could see in the dark. I don't know. Maybe I need to go that. Can rabbits see in the dark? Because I'm still trying to work out if this rabbit was suicidal or not. Can rabbits see in the dark? DuckDuckGo. Alright, so DuckDuckGo just takes a while. Here we go. A rabbit's eyes are adapted to being able to... They can see in half light conditions. Okay, so maybe it was a half suicidal rabbit. The point is, it was so funny, man. It was so funny. And I was just watching this rabbit go from, oh, is that a cry for help, to, oh no, it's God, thank God, I'm still laughing. And then it starts running to the rock. I was like, oh, it's suicidal again. Then it hits the other rock. And I was like, oh, or maybe it was a suicidal rabbit, but it just failed twice. And then it just ran away. Anyway, it was so funny. I don't think it was a suicidal rabbit. You know what? I think it was a stupid rabbit. It was just a silly a silly bunny, man. And nothing funnier in life than a silly bun. So yeah, thank you to that rabbit. And I know that rabbit probably doesn't think that it's affected my life in any way, but it made my whole day. So anyway, what was I talking about? Being in a 5-star hotel. Oh yeah, this podcast is sucks. People every week go like, oh, this is the highlight of my week. I get messaged all the time going, man, I can't wait every Monday when you drop a new podcast. Highlight of my week. Oh yeah, you clearly haven't had a great week. You clearly haven't seen any rabbits jumping off ledges. Because I tell you what, that's better than this podcast. Yes, hearing me describe it, that's great. But seeing it in person, nothing beats a live rabbit hop. But thank you for coming back every week. And, I'm glad this podcast is the highlight of some of your weeks. Although I pity you. Alright. What was I talking about? Hotels. Yeah, so I was staying in this 5-star hotel, and man, it was cool. Like, we'd leave the room, and I don't know how they knew we'd left. We left the room to go to the show, and I did my show in Sydney, came back later that night after the show, and they'd, like, redone all the beds, because me and Zach had a nap before the show, right? And then they redid all the beds, they put, like, new towels in the thing, and, like, it'd only been, like, 4 or 5 hours, and then they put a new complimentary chockey on the bed, and, like, they just... And that stuff is quite common, like, redoing the bed and stuff, but they put, like, all this weird stuff, like, like a bottle of water, but the bottle of water just has gold on it. Like not real gold, but just, like, it's like they were trying so hard to be fancy. They redecorated everything. There was a complimentary iPad and a complimentary iPhone that came with the room. Like, not you could take it away, but you could use the complimentary iPad or iPhone when you were staying at the hotel. It was so weird. It was just one of the weirdest, like, it was nice, but it was good, but it was in a weird way. Anyway, so that was my 5-star hotel experience. I've been living like a goddamn king this tour. I've been in the bloody Virgin Lounge, 5-star hotels. Who am I? I'm used to slumming it on Tiger and then going straight to an Airbnb. That, like, last year in Sydney, I remember the toilet didn't have enough leg room to take a shit in it. I was with Joseph Green, right? And he's quite tall, he's another comedian, and he went to take a crap in my Airbnb toilet, and he was like, and I had to do it too. He's like, man, I couldn't fit my legs. I had to sit sideways on the toilet. Oh wait, I've just knocked shit behind me. I knocked my ukulele over. I got new things in the background. I'll go through that in a sec. Anyway, so he's like, you have to imagine, right? So you know how you sit normally on a toilet, facing the front, and the toilet is designed to fit your butt in a comfortable manner. Now, imagine moving 90 degrees on that toilet, sitting completely like this. I had to shit sideways for an entire weekend. That's like at least 2 sideways poos that I did in Sydney last year, because that's what I could afford. And then I go to 5 stars this year. It's too much of a gap, ladies and gentlemen. Try and ease up. I went from 0 to 100 in a year. And it's not because the tour's going better. It's just weird that we booked a 5-star hotel for some reason. We still stayed in an Airbnb in Newcastle and Wollongong. But man, Sydney, woohoo, hard rolling. I felt like a rock star. With my complimentary mousse and my complimentary chockies. I was like, is this how Bon Jovi lives? He just lives off complimentary mousse and raw dog and crackers without dip. This is a rock star lifestyle. Man, I can't believe I just acted out me sideways shitting on a podcast. Oh, that's so stupid. So, what else happened? What do I want to talk about this week? I forget what I was even going to talk about now. Okay. I had this lady come up to me, right, after a gig. It was on Tuesday, right, at the Comics Lounge, and I just did the regular kind of stuff, was trying a bit of new stuff for the show. Some of it went great, some of it went average, but then, that's what trying new stuff is all about. You never know how it's going to go. And I had a pretty good set overall. I was happy with it. And afterwards, a lady came up to me. She was maybe about 50 years old. And she came up to me, and you can tell what people are gonna say just by their body language. She walked over to me, and it was gonna be negative. I just saw her. She's like, "Hi, Luke. I want to speak to you." And no one has ever said to a stranger, "Hi, I want to speak to you," and has then given you praise. No one's ever been like, "Hi, is Luke? Yeah, I want to speak to you. I thought you were great." I just loved it. No, there's never followed by anything complimentary. "I want to speak to you" is followed by, "I was offended. You can't say that. I didn't like this because I'm dead inside." That's what I want. "Hey Luke, I want to speak to you" is always followed by. And it's only happened a couple of times, but I was like, this will be great, right? And it was awesome because my parents were there, right? And I was like, this will be good. Because I know she's going to be like, yeah, because what the old women always say is, I've had it before, I've had old women say, "Your mum would be so ashamed, blah, 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 you're like," like, and by the way, if anyone's seen my jokes, they're not that bad at all. Like, I'm not an edgy comedian. So I just want to say that if you had never seen my stand-up before, it's not very edgy stuff. I'll drop the occasional, or not, I'll just drop a regular fuck. You know what I mean? I will swear on stage. I might make a couple of jokes that are a bit risque, but they're often so silly. Like, I have a 9/11 joke in my show this year, but it's so silly that if you're offended by it, really, like, the only person who would be offended by it is if you were directly affected by 9/11. Then anything on the... I'm sure if you saw a painting on it, you'd be a bit triggered. But that's the only thing. Like, it's so silly. It's probably I've told other comedians now, like, that is the silliest, like, joke about 9/11 I've ever heard. It's so... Anyway, and by the way, I didn't even do that joke at the Comics Lounge. I wouldn't even do that joke at a room. I'd only ever do that at my show, really. But anyway, so I just did the regular set, and there's one joke I did, which... Look, if you had a stick so far up your butt your entire life, and you were that uptight, and you were walking around every day, like, fucking seeing, like, shit, man, like, "Oh, I'm offended," or whatever, like, maybe you'd be like, "Oh, that bothers me, that joke." But to actually walk up, so the joke, I don't want to spoil the joke, because a lot of people haven't seen my show yet. I've still got a lot of shows on the tour to go, but it's a joke, for people who have seen it, so they know which one I'm talking about. It's, I'm talking about airbags, and then I reference Princess Diana in the joke. And if you have seen the joke, you'll know which one I'm talking about. If you haven't, then great, you'll see it at the show. Look, there's a joke that I do. It's a fucking banger joke, by the way, and it's one of my favorite jokes of the show. And I knew straight away what she was going to say. So she came up, she's like, "Hey, Luke, I'd like to talk to you." I was like, "Oh, this is fucking good, right?" And it was great. My mum and dad were sitting right there, so if she pulled, like, the "your parents will be ashamed" card, I just drag bloody Shaz over and be like, "Hey, this is my mum. She's not ashamed. She's really proud of me." Next. So, yeah, my parents are there, and they were there with their friends, which means, like, that's the thing, like, it's so funny to me that other people, comment on, like, just stuff like that. Like she didn't think she was being rude, this woman, but she was so invasive. Firstly, she got really close to me and she started touching me, which I was like really uncomfortable with, right? I'm standing there with my girlfriend, my parents, and there's this 50-year-old woman. She puts her hand on mine and she's like, "Luke, we need to talk." And I was trying to fucking lose it, right? She was maggoted off her brain. She was so drunk. You can tell she was lonely. And she was like, "Now, I thought you were fine tonight. I did. That was fine. But what I wanted to say was, and I was like, just fucking snap to it, love. I know you didn't like the Princess Diana joke, but I had to sit through 10 minutes. I heard this woman out for 10 minutes, partly because I was like, I need someone to talk about my podcast this week, so thank you. And secondly, it was just a good laugh at the time. She was really drunk and I wasn't, and that was amusing me. So she comes up, she starts saying all this stuff. She's like, I work in care. I do public speaking for a living, and she goes, "Some of the things you said tonight I felt very uncomfortable with." And then she goes, "To be honest, I thought some of your performance was really cringy." And she goes, and she was touching me and stuff, and she's like, "I just think you're very cringe on stage." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You're cringing at a comedy performance," which went pretty well, by the way. The other 400 people were like, "Oh, good, I like your jokes," right? You're cringing at that, But I'm cringing at a 50-year-old woman by herself, fucking blind drunk on a Tuesday night, touching a 22-year-old, half her age, right? Trying to fucking save him. That's making me a little cringe, okay? That's making me wince, you know? It's like, slightly go... I sound like the rabbit. I was like... Oh, man. It was so funny. So then she went on for like... I'm not going to repeat what she said because it went for 10 minutes. She tried to go into my childhood. She's like... And either way, I was nothing but nice to her. I can't stress this enough. I was so nice to her. My dad afterwards was like, I'm really proud of the way you handled that. And he's a primary school teacher, right? He was like, you really handled that well. That whatever. Like, she was clearly nuts. And it was great, man. And then... And she was like, I was like, were you... Because I couldn't be fucked talking to her anymore. So I was like, she hadn't got around to what she was trying to say. I was like, what were you offended at? And she was like, I wasn't offended, but I didn't like... I'm like, you were offended. And she goes, okay, well, I was offended at... She goes, I just think some of the stuff you're saying, it's, you know, because you're young. And it's like... And she goes, oh, look, I think you need to rewrite some of your jokes. She goes, I'd recommend you just rewrite most of that. And I was like, sorry, have you ever done comedy before? And she was like, no, but I've done 7 years of public speaking. I speak regularly from my work. I was like, but you've never done stand-up comedy before. I'm like, I've done fucking oral presentations before. I sucked at it. You know what I mean? Oh, I can deliver in front of fucking boring PowerPoint. Yeah, everyone can deliver a fucking PowerPoint. It's called your job. Like, and anyway, it was great. I don't want to get too into it, but, I was trying not to, like, be rude, and I was smirking a lot, and I was, you know, like, again, I laugh easily, if you haven't already worked that out. So when she starts blindly drunk telling me how offended she was, and I'm really biting my tongue here, I was like, and then I was like to her, it just stumped her. I was like, you know what, I'm honestly like, you must have a great life. And she goes, oh, no, well, you know, she's like, I do. I'm like, I can tell, because if you have time to be offended at something, then that's great. And she was so, that's what triggered her. She was so triggered that she was trying to save me. She thought, oh, there's this young boy and she's, you know, he's telling her some slightly edgy jokes on stage. I can save him. And what bothered her was me, like, just relinking her to idon'tgiveafuck.com. Like, and she couldn't compute why her words were not getting through to me. And it's because I don't care. And that's fine. And that's the thing. She was like, but aren't you worried that I'm offended? And I was like, not at all. I'm like, that's great. I was like, that's fine. You can be offended. I was like, that's awesome. Like, great that you, you know, you're passionate about Princess Diana or whatever. I'm like, that's great. And I was like, but there's a lot of people who weren't offended, and that's also fine. And that's, nothing happens. I'm offended. Sick. Go watch Steve Hughes. He's a comedian. There's a great bit on it. And it's one of my favorite things. It's just like, if you have time to be offended at anything, you have a great life. I envy you. You have I don't. That's the thing. That's why I don't get offended at anything. Because I have a fucking awesome life. I don't have, like, I don't know. Like, no, well, that's the thing. I'm just busy. I'm too busy to be offended. Like, but if you have time to be like, that offends me, it's like, great. Fucking, I'm glad you had the time in your day to think about that. And it really bothered this lady, and she just gave up. And then she goes, I think you should rework that. And before she left, I wanted her to know that I was like, I just want you to know that I really appreciate the feedback, but I'm like, I just let you know, I'm actually not going to change the joke. I'm really happy with it, and it's a good joke. And yeah, but I was like, thank you for coming, and I hope you had a good night and stuff. And because I was being so polite to her and so reasonable, it really took her back. I think she thought I was going to be like, either go, oh, I'm so sorry, or me go, fuck you. She was going for one of those two things, and I just was like rational, and I was like, of course, that's totally fine. She couldn't believe that, maybe, like, it's so funny when people think you're something because they watch you on stage. She like she was trying to go into my childhood. She's like, so tell me about your upbringing. I think some of the things you say on stage stems from quite a privileged upbringing. And I was like, and I was like, oh, of course. I was like, I'm very privileged. I'm like, you should check out my podcast, Memoirs of a White Guy. Fuck, I talk about Specky McGee frequently. And she's like, right. She goes, and what are your parents? I was like, oh, they're just here actually. You can meet them. And I introduced them, and I was like, primary school teacher. My mum works in retail, and she couldn't fucking. It was triggering her so much because I was just being so reasonable, and I had counterpoints to everything she was saying. And I was like, man, I've done this dance before. You're fucking 8 cans deep on a Tuesday, and I know how to handle you. And man, it was bizarre. So if you like, and this, the only reason I'm talking about it is because A, it was kind of funny, but B, yeah, if like don't be that person because not that I was particularly bothered by it, but maybe someone who, I think the first time someone did it to me after show, I was a bit bothered by it, and I took it to heart a bit, and then so I think now it doesn't, but yeah, don't be that person. Like I would say, I would strive to be the type of person who, if you go to a comedy show, you're probably not going to agree with everything that's been said. And that's great. Comedy is supposed to challenge your thoughts. It's supposed to challenge your beliefs. You don't have to fucking leave the show going, I agree with everything. I went to see Jim Jeffries last year, and I didn't necessarily agree with everything he said, but I fucking lost my mind laughing at it because it's a joke. And that's another thing. This will be my last thing I'll say about this. She was like, oh, but you shouldn't say stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, and she goes, it's disgusting. She goes, I'll be honest, I think it's disgusting that you think some of those things. And I was like, I don't think that. It's a joke. And I was like, I pointed at the fucking thing on the wall that said comedy club, like it said comics lounge. And I was like, see, we're actually doing this conversation in a comedy club, so it's a joke. And that's one thing that people can't get through their fucking brain holes. You know what I mean? Like, whatever they're fucking absorbing from their set, they ignore the fact that it's a joke, and they take away from it what they want to take. They take away from it, oh, he thinks that. And it's like, no, I think that'll get a laugh. And it fucking did. So, that's what I mean. I'm like, oh, man. And it was so frustrating going over the same thing with her and her not fucking being able to compute it. It was incredible, actually, to watch. And I was just like, knock, fucking... Like, if I would... Like, I almost had to be like, knock. Well, who's there? It's a who? It's a fucking joke. Get a life. Man, it was good. So, yeah, that's what happened on Tuesday. Offending old women. So, if you're over 50 and you're a big fan of Princess Diana, maybe don't come to my show. And that's not even that much of a bad joke. So... Yeah, man, the show's going well. Yeah, I'm keen. I'm looking forward to it. Melbourne starts this week. So, yeah, get on that shit. Start Wednesday night. It's my birthday show. So, if you haven't got tickets yet to the Wednesdays or Thursdays during the festival, that'll mean a lot because the weekends are filling up. Alright, what do I talk about next? Okay, I wanted to talk about... I was reading an article about this... Oh, it was amazing. It was about this flat earth expedition. So a bunch of flat earthers are going to Antarctica. I'll just read the article, right, so I don't get anything wrong. It said, conspiracy theorists are heading to the end of the world in a bizarre trip to prove the Earth isn't a sphere. So, and it's called the Flat Earthers plan to travel Antarctica by boat to find the frozen barrier they believe marks the edge of our world. Why do they call themselves Flat Earthers? Or is that just a typo from news.com? Flat Earthers. Oh, I think that's a typo. Yeah, okay, that's definitely a typo. They've written Flat Earthers. The supposed... Sorry, right, this is what's happening. And it's very funny to me because... Look, believe what you want to believe about the flat earth. Fuck, if you think we're living on a fucking disc, then great. If you think we're living in a ball, then you're correct. Nah, to be honest, whatever you think, that's fine, man. Like, I never care about what people believe in. People are like, oh, he's a freak, he believes in flat earth. It's like, cool, man. He's clearly got a lot of time on his hands, or he or she, or whatever, right? Girls can have opinions too. That's rude that I said he. But yeah, man, it's crazy to me that people care. It's not crazy to me that people think there's a flat Earth. It's crazy to me that other people care what people think. I don't have the time of my day. If someone was like Logan Paul was like, fucking, he's on this flat Earth documentary. And he's like, oh, might be a flat Earther, and everyone's like, oh, Logan Paul's crazy. And I was like, you just realized that now? Japan? Suicide forest? Ring any bells? Ring-a-ling-ding, filmed a dead body and put it on YouTube. And everyone's like, now what? He's a flat earther? That's crazy. The dude was tasering dead rats after that. The dude's nuts. That's why he has 18 million subscribers. That's why people watch his content. Because 13-year-olds don't realize what a crazy person is. Hence, why pedophiles are a thing. I'm not calling Logan Paul a pedophile. I'm saying that young people are impressionable and get put into vans easily. But that's not... And Logan Paul's content is the equivalent of getting put in an intellectual van. He offers them candy like, I spent $50,000 on a Rolex. And young kids are like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then you grow up and you're like, fucking cool flex, dude. Give money to charity, you piece of shit. No, look, Logan Paul... You know what? I'm not anti-Logan Paul. I think I used to be. I think I used to talk a lot of trash about him and whatever. I'll talk smack about anyone. Why? Because I'm a white boy with a podcast. That's my duty in society. What? Talk unnecessary smack about someone who deserves it? I volunteer as tribute. Yeah, man. Like, Logan Paul, he seems, I'm not going to say grounded, but he seems quite level-headed, and I think he knows what he's doing. Even when he was doing all that crazy shit, he was trying to villainize himself, obviously, and he knew what was up. He's definitely very self-aware, and I would say he gets unnecessary hate, because man, I love his podcast. His podcast is awesome. It's one of the best podcasts out there going around, and if you're like, oh, no, it's not, because it's Logan Paul, it's like, you haven't even listened to it then, because it's really entertaining. He has great guests on, they talk about interesting shit. It's just a good podcast, no matter what you think of the dude. But, yeah, man, so a lot of people are calling him crazy because he's made this flat earth documentary, and then I also read this article on news.com, so I wanted to talk about it. The article goes on to say, the supposed ice wall is said to be several hundred meters thick, towers 50 meters high, and surrounds the entire planet. It's not fucking Game of Thrones. It's Earth. Dude, we're not in Westeros. I'll give you that. Westeros may be flat, right? But that's a fictional world. Middle Earth, yeah, fair enough. You could have, if you were a flat Middle Earther, I'd be like, man, might check out. Never read The Lord of the Rings properly, only seen the films. Not once in The Hobbit did it suggest that Middle Earth was round. But on Earth, look, this is what amuses me about it, because either way, these people are going to get a result. Now, I am of the belief, this is my personal opinion, I'm of the belief, because of science and facts, the Earth, in my opinion, is a big old ball. We're living in a nice little sphere, and that makes sense in my head. But I could be wrong. Unlikely, but I could be wrong. And that would blow my fucking mind, first of all, blow a lot of people's minds, but also, man, you'd feel like a goose. You know what I mean? If like everyone's like, oh, flat earthers are stupid, and it's like, alright, they probably are. It's most likely, of course, that they are. But imagine like the 0.1% possibility where these dudes are just like, nah, trust me, we're right, and then they proved it. This is what amuses me about this trip. Conspiracy theorists are heading to the end of the world to prove that the Earth isn't flat. So they're going there 100% expecting to find a 50-meter ice wall all around the world. Like it's the fucking Truman Show. Like this shit, like we're just living in a dome. They think we're living in a snow globe. But what amuses me is they'll get there, right? This is what's most likely going to happen, just based off science. They're going to go there, and they're going to keep going. They're going to keep going. They're going to get on the other side of the world. They're going to come around again, and they're going to be like, they're going to do an entire fucking loop, and they're going to be like, fuck. And then they're going to be like, alright, we've devoted our lives to this, and we've just proven ourselves wrong. What are we going to do? It's like in those situations where you know you've completely fucked up, but you've got time. Like, they'll be out in the middle of the ocean. They've got time to, like, come up with a lie or an excuse or an explanation. So they'll just be, like, round a table going, right, so there's no ice wall. Our calculations were a bit off. But who's good at Photoshop? Darren? You were good at Photoshop? You Photoshopped your kids into that holiday picture a few years back? Do you back yourself with an ice wall? And he Googles Game of Thrones season finale. And then he comes up with the dragon, right? And he goes, right, let's Photoshop out that dragon fucking blowing it down, right? Get Jon Snow out of the shot. We'll put it near a fucking penguin. And everyone will be like, oh, that's Antarctica, right? Because it's got fucking Happy Feet next to it, doing a little tap to Queen. And then people will be like, checks out, the earth is flat, these dudes were right all along. That's what amuses me about the whole thing is these people are nuts. Not because they believe the earth is flat. These people are nuts because they wholeheartedly believe it and are also willing to prove themselves wrong. I hope there's a few self-aware ones on this trip that are really going there open-minded and are also going to be like, well, great, now the earth is, I know for a fact now the earth is a sphere and I can do other shit with my life. For the people, I honestly think it's great for these people because even though you might be like, oh, that's such a massive waste of time going to Antarctica to find out if the earth is flat or not, to find the end of the world, I agree, that is a waste of time. But what's more of a waste of time is devoting your entire life to it and then dying not knowing. It's better for these people to do like a month-long trip to Antarctica. They go, oh, well, I'm a fucking idiot. And then they can continue on with their life and get a job and contribute to society. So, yeah, man. It says next year's incredible trip, the details of which are being kept under wraps. Ooh, I wonder why. Because they don't want people to find out when they realise they're fucking wrong. Is being organised by Flat Earth International Conference. Even YouTube star Logan Paul wants to join the expedition so he can find the facts behind the bonkers theories. Dude, if he's your like celebrity endorsement, you're struggling. You know what I mean? Ooh, you're struggling. Because Scientology have Tom Cruise. If all you've got is Logan Paul, maybe you are bonkers. I don't know. If you can't even get an A-lister, if you can't get a Brad Pitt or an Angelina Jolie on board, then just maybe, you might need to reconsider the whole dome theory. That's so funny to me. I read this other thing in an article that said they've got another celebrity endorsement, not someone who's known for their academic achievements. NBA player Shaquille O'Neal proclaimed, "Our home planet is flat," saying that when he drives from Florida to California, it seems flat to me. Checks out, man. I've driven Adelaide before, alright, and I was like, oh yeah? No, not much curvature in the road. Checks out. How even long is it? Does DuckDuckGo have maps? Because I don't want to use the G word maps. DuckDuckGo. Maps at DuckCo. Oh my god, DuckDuckGo have maps. Oh my god. Okay, no they don't. Hang on. I think they do. DuckDuckGo. Where is it? Do they have maps on DuckDuckGo? Because I really don't want to... No, they don't. I'm just going to look up drive time from Florida to California. Luke, would it be quicker to Google Maps this? Absolutely. Do I have the time for Google's search results? No, I don't. Okay, it's 39 hours and 42 minutes from Florida to California. So it's over the other side of the country. I didn't know that. But still, hard to tell in a car over 39 hours if you're going... Look, I assume Shaq was joking. You've got to assume that's a joking, because that's almost a good tweet. Like that's just good comedy. Shaq's known for being quite a funny bugger, right? He's on a lot of Comedy Central roasts. You'd hope that's a joke. But flat earthers are claiming like, but Shaquille O'Neal agrees. It's like, yeah, that dude is 9 foot tall, and he's rich because he can dunk. He's not rich because, like, you know what I mean? He's not a scientist. He can throw a ball good. He's... I mean, look, he's probably mainly in the NBA, let's be honest, because he's enormous. Man, his dick is bigger than his brain, for sure. And that's no disrespect to Shaq. You can just tell he's got a massive dick. He's got big dick energy and also size 16 feet. So, Shaq... foot size. This is going to intimidate the fuck out of me. 23. Oh, I'm sorry. 16. Lol. I'm size 12. That was a bad guess. Shaq has size 23 feet. His feet are pretty much double the size of mine. Right? I'm going to have a foot fetish website now. But anyway, there's my foot. Imagine double the length of that. Jesus Christ. Alright. We're almost at the end of the podcast. Well, I'll finish off talking about this flat earth shit. It just amuses me, man. This flat earth stuff is... It's so fascinating to me. I love... You know what? Credit to these people who are traveling. Because it's great seeing people passionate about something. People aren't very passionate anymore, you know? I'm only passionate about a few things. But, you know, whatever. It's good on them. Everyone likes different stuff. Do what you want to do. If you want to travel Antarctica to prove yourself wrong, I'm not going to stop you. The reason why they think the Earth is flat, though, if you've never done any research into the topic, is the general consensus, it says in this article, by flat earthers, is the idea the world is round, is a way that NASA can dupe society along with the governments to keep control. I don't know about you, but whenever I see a globe or a picture of the world taken from a satellite, I'm never like, ooh, feeling a bit controlled. What does that have to do with keeping control? Oh, they're controlling us. They're controlling what we think. It's like, okay, it doesn't bother me. That's the thing. If it came out and they proved that the Earth was flat, and I was like, cool, it doesn't affect my life. As long as I can still read Specky McGee and watch reruns of Hannah Montana, I'm going to have a sick weekend. I don't give a fuck what shape the Earth is. Just give me a fucking Tim Tam and a chalky milk, and I'm happy. But good on ya if you care about that shit. Good for you, I guess. But, you know, some of us like the simple things in life, and those things you can enjoy in a flat Earth society and a spherical. Is that a word? Spherical? Who cares? Hannah Montana's a good show. Anyway, so the people think that NASA controlled it and they're photoshopping photos, whatever. Flat Earth Society suggests the space agencies of the world conspire to fake space travel to hide the Earth's biggest secret. Who cares? But yeah, I just thought that was pretty interesting. Good luck to those people going out there and finding the end of the world. I hope you find it. For your sake, I hope you find it. Because it'd be goddamn humiliating if you got there and you just found a couple of polar bears and a penguin and they're all like, fuck off, it's round. Get out of here. I mean, that would be... Imagine, getting all the way to Antarctica, having your entire life's theory proven wrong by yourself, and then having a penguin tell you to fuck off. That'd be one of the worst humiliating days of your life. You'd be like, wow, I have no respect for myself. But yeah, that's cool. Good luck to those people. I'll be just chilling with my science over here. And I know if you're into flat Earth, I already know you're gonna say, but look, cool. I don't care. All right. let's get out the knock. Bust out the knock. It's time for you guys to knock me up. I haven't really checked it. I've got 3 more messages. By the way, I'm recording this podcast like only a few days after the last one, just because I got a busy weekend coming up with. I got a bunch of birthday stuff with family, and I've got a bunch of gigs and stuff like that preparing for the comedy festival. So I'm doing this podcast on the Friday. You guys listen to it on the Monday. If you're in Patreon, you'll be hearing it early. So yeah, I've got a few more texts. I've got 3 more My Name Jeffs. Someone sent, somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. And then if I scroll down, it's the entire lyrics to All Star by Smash Mouth. So that is riveting content. And then they couldn't fit it in one message because it's a Nokia. So the next text just begins with, hey now, you're an All-Star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Look, I'm not going to read out the whole text. Actually, I can if you want. We can do that on the extended edition maybe one day. I just read the lyrics. And the other text was, sorry about ruining the 69 patrons. I feel like I ruined a good thing. I had 69 people on Patreon, and then someone came in, gave me money once a month. God damn it, mate. What are you doing? I'm so mad about that. Nah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. You're right, we did have a good thing going. But, you know, can't be on 69 forever. In update with all the stuff for the Patreon, you might have seen a crowd work video done. So I've started just filming my shows myself. I'm hopefully going to be able to pay someone in Melbourne to do some of the shows, some of the sold out ones, like on a weekend or something I might film. At the moment, I've just been filming the shows myself. And I hope you guys have been loving it because the quality's shit. But I'm really trying to do my best to put out as much stuff. I dropped a crowd work video last week and it went nuts. So thank you guys for doing that. And again, I feel like if I did take someone on tour with me, that would I feel like that's what you guys want, because all the best videos on my channel are stand-up, and it's what I'm best at, it's what I do. I've got a gig tonight. I'm going to Frankston tonight. Ugh, so annoying. I realised, I don't think I've, ever been to Frankston before in Melbourne. Or maybe, once. I don't really remember it. So, yeah. If I don't make it back, this could be the last podcast, so it's been fun. I might just get stranded there. My car will probably get jacked. I'll get stabbed. And I'll be in a gutter going, but at least I got to confess my love for Hannah Montana on the podcast. It was all worth it. So, yeah. Those are the people who's knocked me up. So it'd be good to actually have some actual correspondence next week. The phone number is on the Patreon if you want to ask me a question, life advice, or if you just wanted to send me the lyrics to a Smash Mouth song, you can do it on the knock. Yeah, knock me up. I think maybe we need a theme song for the knock. Maybe it could be like, you know the Veronicas? That song is like, it could be like, knock me up. I wanna feel the vibrate in my pocket. You can knock me, anywhere is good enough. Knock me up, except if you're in New Zealand. I realise that people overseas can't actually knock me up, and it's a flawed system because it's an Australian phone number. But anyway, guys, the Earth's flat, nothing is real. Bush did 9/11. The Egyptians didn't build the pyramids. It was aliens. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me on. Sorry, not welcome back. Thanks for joining me on the Conspiracy Podcast. I hope you guys are killing it. Nothing is real, and 42 is the meaning of life. Alright, guys, it's been a great chat. I might have attracted a few conspiracy theorists with the name of the podcast this week, and if you're here, man, you know what, I was actually thinking, and people have suggested to me a lot, that occasionally on the podcast we could delve into a conspiracy theory. Let me know if that's something you'd want to hear occasionally on the podcast, because, I don't know, look, I'll probably end up just trashing the theory, but, man, it's super fun, and it's super, even though I joke about whatever, I don't want people to get offended for what you believe in, because, you know what, man, that's cool. If you think the Earth is flat, then I also like snow globes, so there's nothing wrong with that. And I love CDs. I love flat shit, dude. Love me some flat titties. What am I doing? I need to end the podcast, guys. What the fuck? Actually, before we end, I'll go through the background. If you're listening, just bear with me for a sec. A couple of things have changed because Sharon Kidgell's come in and added some new shit when I was gone from Sydney. I don't know why. She added I come back. This is what always happens. I come back to my house like after I go away, and Mum just cleans my room when I go. And I was like, why didn't you just leave it? Like, why do you care? And she's like, oh, I was looking at it. I was like, close my door. If it bothers you that much. She's like, I have to walk past your room every day, and there's stuff everywhere, so I just gave it a quick clean. And you know, she spent like an hour doing it because there's new shit. She put a ukulele in the background, which, I don't know, maybe we can keep that there. She kept the megaphone. She's put my little Memoirs of a White Guy canvas thing up on a stool. like it's having trouble shitting. And she's like, oh, I fucking raise it, it's easier, right? And then she's put this is cool, actually, I like this is a good addition. It's my little fat bird that someone made. A girl from Adelaide made it to me, made me a fat bird like 2 years ago. She was a fan of the podcast, and it was the first ever gift I got from a fan after a show, which is super cool, and I've always kept it. So if she still listens, or if she's still a fan, then yeah, I've still got your little fat bird, and it's cool. And now it's part of the it's like a homemade knitted fat bird, which is really cool. So I've kept that there. And yeah, if you guys want to like give me shit at the show, you know, I might put it in the background. We'll see. If it sucks, I won't. But if it's cool, then you maybe. What else do I have? I just have a lamp there, which you can see. But that's just for my bed. And I've got a little tiger hanging off the lamp. And I also have this little I have this little trophy. It's like this is like the coolest gift I've ever got. And I don't think I've ever mentioned it before. But it's just a stupid gift. It was like this little fake trophy thing that Hamish Blake got for Andy once on the radio show on Hamish and Andy. And one time we came back after the staff party, and Hamish had written like this handwritten note to Lewis and I saying, after that, this was just when they finished radio at the end of 2017, and they said, good luck for the rest of your radio careers, blah, blah, blah. I think anyway, it was really cool. I keep it there because it's like a sentimental thing for me, because my idol like wrote me a note and gave me a really cool just like gave me a gift and was like, I want you to have this, blah, blah, blah. So when you look at it, you can fucking kill it or whatever. So yeah, that's just a cool thing. That's mainly for me. This is why I'm going to keep it behind the tambourine. But yeah. So that's why I have that there. But those are all the new additions to the background. Alright guys, thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, I'd love it if you told a friend. We're going to make this podcast the biggest podcast in Australia. Maybe not, but we're going to try. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. It's up on Spotify, YouTube. If you listen to the audio, you can actually watch the full video podcast if you didn't know that. Follow me on Instagram, guys. I want to get to 1,000 followers on Memoirs of a White Guy on Instagram. I'm posting regular clips every week from the podcast. I'm posting memes that you guys send in. Just all podcast related content, because I can't keep posting about the podcast on my actual Instagram because people just like, not everyone listens to it. So yeah, man, if you want to keep up with the podcast during the week, follow it on Instagram, join the Memoirs of a White Guy podcast Facebook group, and let's make this shit pop. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you at a show. Melbourne Comedy Festival starts this week. Tambourine tour, get down. I meet everyone after the shows. It's going to be like the most fun 3 weeks ever. I'm super keen. So yeah, let's do it, Melbourne. Get around me. You guys have been very kind to me in the past, so hopefully it goes well again. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to everyone else who's got a ticket to the tour so far. This is my dream, and you guys are making it a reality, which is the coolest shit in the world. So yeah, thanks to everyone for supporting me on Patreon as well. I've got the I've ordered the new microphone. I don't know when it's going to come, and then when it comes, hopefully I'll have a little stand and it can come into shot, and then I'll have a bloody Joe Rogan mic and I'll look profesh as fuck. So next time when I talk about Hannah Montana, man, I'm going to be talking about Hannah Montana in a $700 microphone. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Have a good week. I'll see you at the shows.